Let me pose you a question, dear viewer. What characters come to mind when you think of Marvel Comics? Could it be Iron Man? Wolverine? Spider-Man? Maybe the Fantastic Four? There's just so many to pick from. With such a rich and varied comic book universe, spanning multiple decades, timelines, and even realities, there's a plethora of superheroes to suit every conceivable taste and fashion. At least, that's what I used to believe, but Marvel's New Warriors has taught me otherwise. Because the thing we've all been crying out for, even if we didn't realise it, is overweight non-binary teenage superheroes named after present-day internet slang. Well, now we need wait no longer. Feast your eyes upon the New Warriors. Now, it may shock you to know that this comic is actually based on an older series from the 1990s, which was also called The New Warriors. So, is this like the New Warriors? I don't fucking know. Anyway, the important thing to remember is that it's going to feature the original characters acting as mentors to a new generation of crime-fighting superheroes. A passing of the torch, if you will. And I don't know about you, but I can't imagine anyone better equipped to take on the responsibility of keeping the world safe than these tough, seasoned, dangerous, and, diverse individuals. Truly, this comic has got success written all over it. Speaking of writing, New Warriors was created by this bastion of masculinity. A hard-talking, straight shooter who tells it like it is, consequences be damned. The kind of guy who takes no shit from anyone and gets things done his way. Let's hear what inspired him to write this new comic.
I remember seeing them on the shelf when I was a kid, picking up comics in the 90s and just feeling like they were too cool for me. Like I was intimidated by, Night Thrasher who had a blade coming out of his wrist.
Now that shocks me to my core, Daniel. The idea that a man like you could be intimidated by a comic book character. What's ever next? Anyway, enough pissing around. Let's get to the meat of this particular entertainment sandwich by learning more about the new breed of superheroes. First up, obviously, is Trailblazer.
She's a group home and foster kid who is volunteering at a senior center.
Well, that sounds like a fascinatingly dark yet socially conscious character. I can't wait to read about how she heroically empties bedpans and listens to rambling stories that go nowhere. And it gets even better when we discover what her power actually is.
And she inherited from her grandfather a magic backpack of divine origin.
Now I have to admit, when I think of objects infused with divine power, I tend to imagine stuff like this, or this, or this. But that just goes to show how limited my thinking truly is. Daniel here knows the real deal, and he can think outside the box in ways my tiny brain can't even conceive of. Now, let's move on to our next stunningly brave character, Screen Time.
Screen Time is a internet kid taken to its sort of logical conclusion. As a youth, he was exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas.
Internet gas? So, like, you inhale it and the internet is inside you? What's a genius idea? Pair it up with a social media array and a live stream kick, and you've got an absolute winner of a character that everyone can relate to. Speaking of relatability, let's take a look at our next two candidates.
Snowflake and Safe Space are the twins, and their names are very similar to Screen Time. It's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around on the internet.
I don't know about you, but I was literally shaking when I heard about these two. There was once a time when calling people by these names was considered an insult, but no longer. The New Warriors has turned the whole thing on its head by taking back ownership. Take that, internet trolls! And this is at the core of what makes the New Warriors so clever and interesting. Because really, who wants complex, morally conflicted characters wrestling with difficult choices and ultimately facing the realization that despite their powers and abilities, they remain fundamentally human, with all the flaws and weaknesses that entails, when we can all just retreat to our safe spaces instead and enjoy nice, bland, inoffensive, diversity-approved heroes that won't challenge us in any way. But it's not just the main group of heroes that are going to make this comic a success. I'm particularly excited about the diverse and fascinating list of enemies that these new warriors have to face down, such as Professor Patriarchy, Captain Cultural Appropriation, Tanya Triggered, Major Microaggression, and of course, the team's archenemy, Richard Republican. Even the art style looks fantastic, gritty and high effort, with a great level of detail and stunning costumes guaranteed to strike fear into the hearts of even the most dangerous criminals. And it really puts into perspective how lazy and unimaginative the industry had become. Take note, comic artists. Honestly, with high quality work like this now making it onto the shelves, I'm completely baffled why the comic book industry seems to be struggling right now. I can only assume it's because of a small but vocal group of haters that are standing in the way of progress and diversity. But not to worry, with the help of the new warriors, that's a problem that'll soon resolve itself. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.